What's up, guys? This is Aaron from Gear Up, and welcome to today's episode. And boy, am I glad to see you today, because we're gonna talk about the Amazon Echo Buds, these guys right here. And boy, I set out when I got these, I wasn't sure I was gonna like them, but I have been surprised at almost every step of the way. I have my niggles and doubts about it. For the most part though, these things really are pretty good. So let's find out why. If you're shopping for one of these kind of things or just looking, let's check out more about what we think of the Amazon Echo Buds after these messages. Let's first take a look at a storage/charging case, and right out of the box you immediately notice, the first impressions anyway, is how cheap this thing is made. It's made to a budget, and for $130 they could have done it a little bit better. The plastics on the case are too smooth, in my opinion. Look at that, my fingers are a little bit damp and it's leaving a smear. So this thing is like an honest fingerprint magnet, and early down here there's some scratches from just throwing it in my backpack, and I just wasn't rough with it. It just scratches so easily. But I think you've heard a lot of these complaints online, and it holds true to this review as well. And I'm not sure why Amazon is holding on to micro USB for charging, but here it is. I'm sure you have some of those cables lying around, so I guess we'll suck it up. Here's a button down here for checking the battery level of the case itself. So in green, which tell you it's pretty full and allows you to charge it about 2 times before it's empty. The lid itself is really strong. I really like the lid. It is nice and solid. It doesn't flop around and make funky noises, so when you close it, it's nice and tight. Up here there's a little rubber strip that protects your earbuds when it's closed. And one cool thing about a case is that it's shaped like a bar of soap, so slipping in your pockets or your purse is a cinch. Fully charged, the case holds about 20 hours of battery life on top of the 5 hours within the earbuds themselves. Here are the charging contacts for the earbuds with left-right indicators, and the magnets are pretty strong in this thing. In fact, probably stronger than the MX3s, the 1000 MX3 Sonys that I reviewed a while back, and check out that video. But you can compare this. If I shake this, in the Sonys they rattle a little bit. I think it's maybe just how they sat and such, but in this case it's just nice and solid. The magnet holds it really well, and it takes a nice little pop. It pops off with a satisfying pop to get it off. And here are the Echo Buds themselves, and they're available in all kinds of colors as long as you choose black. And the quality of the plastics, I'll tell you what, it is not the best at all. It's full of gloss black. I wish these kind of plastics in cars and earbuds and whatever would go away. Fingerprint magnets, dust magnets, smear magnets, whatever. It's really hard to keep clean, and especially if you have the wingtips installed, the rubber is really like sticky. It attracts lint and dust to no end. And I'm not sure if you want to stick that in your ear if it's not properly clean. But that being said, I really like the discreet look of this. Once you fit this in your ear, it's barely noticeable. You wear this in public, no one's gonna see the flash. I think some of you may like more flash, more bling. Oh, but speaking of bling, I really like this chrome surround around the charging pins. It is a nice little touch. Oh, and this little circle right here, I'm not sure if you can see it, that is the proximity sensor. Yes, these things have, at $130, they come with proximity sensors. So when you take it out of your ear, the music stops, you put it back in, it starts again. Really nice feature, and it's really hard to trick it up. The earbuds come with 3 different tips. They don't come with foam ones, it's all silicone. It also comes with 3 different sizes of ear tips, just in case you're more active. I found that they sat really well in the ear, but when I became active they start slipping out, so these really help, and they fit in the helix lock pretty nice and tight. In terms of the design, out here is the gesture pad, and I'll talk to it about it a little bit more. It's kind of finicky, just like most gesture controls, but in the Echo Buds they're a little bit more finicky. Now these microphones right here and here are in charge of phone calls and your active noise reduction. And notice I say reduction, not cancellation. It's a slightly lower rung of noise cancellation. It's developed by Bose, and you've probably heard about that, and it's pretty effective actually. Bose knows what they're doing, and in this case, and I'll talk to you about it a little bit more too later, is they actually work pretty well. They're kind of close, not close in certain areas, but kind of close in total isolation from the world compared to some of the other buds that I've tested, like for example the Sony 1000 MX3s. These things are pretty tight. and they're 7.6 grams together. And with the ear tips, they're about 7.8, 7.9 grams. And so they sit in the ears really light. You can barely feel it. They do get warm and they hurt after about 3 or 4 hours, but that's pretty much the norm with in-ear earbuds like these that don't sit on the ear like the Sonys do, or the Anchors, for example, Anchors Liberty 2 Pros. Now let's talk about the positives, and the first thing that really surprised me is the sound qualities of these Echo Buds. I went into the review not expecting much and with really low expectations, and sure enough, when I turned it on and tested it with my two test songs, the Raiders of the Lost Ark theme song and Johnny Cash's Hurt, side by side, I was just disappointed. I couldn't hear anything, like nothing stood out to me, and it sounded like a $30 pair of earbuds. Now, then I decided and realized that it might be because they just did not have enough power in the drivers running through them. So I decided to go into the EQ settings and just bump everything up, drop the bass a little bit. And once we had enough power going through them or volume, the drivers really woke up. Now, I'm not saying they're on the same levels as the Sony XM3s or AirPod Pros, by no means, but they really stand out once you get the settings right. They really start singing and sounded good. The staging is pretty spot on. Even in phone calls, it's really nice. And I could hear all the instruments. They're a little bit muddy on the bass, a little bit muddy on some parts of the mids and highs, but overall, they're a good listening experience. So try to wrap this idea around your head. For $130, you're not only getting earbuds that sound good with a little bit of tweaking, but they have active noise reduction. Sure, it is not active noise cancellation. That's all the fad nowadays. But I'll tell you what, based on experience, these things are pretty close. I'm not sure what Magic Bose did, and sure, it might be an older version of what they're developing, but these things cancel out standard rumbling noises like buses and air conditioning and planes pretty darn well. And you got to taper expectations. For $130, these things do really well for what they are, better than anything out there except for the top guys up there like the XM3s and AirPod Pros. They're not as good and isolated, but with a good seal and the active noise reduction going, oh my goodness, pretty darn impressive. Some of the other things that I really like about these earbuds are, for example, how light they are in your ears when they sit in there. It is running around 7.6 grams per earbud, or 7.8 with ear tips on. So quite literally, they are lighter than, I don't know, 2.5 unicorn wings. My point is, they're pretty light. And the other thing that's pretty accurate is Amazon quotes the battery life at 5 hours, and I've seen it run from 4 hours 45 minutes to around 5 hours 3 minutes or 5 minutes, which is pretty spot on for what it is. And if you turn off active noise reduction, you get about 6 hours, 6.5 hours, which is pretty good. And the other thing that I really like that I complain about in the Sony XM3s is water resistance. These guys have it. It's IPX4. It is not like you can shower with it or anything, but it is sweat proof and splash proof. And I'll show you some B-roll in a second where I really give this a good testing, like a good dunking and a good soaking, and they still work really well. So take it for what it is. B-roll time. Hold on a second, guys. I really need your help. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel and clicking the bell notification below. It really helps me bring you more content and more videos like this to watch. So are we good? All right, let's move on with the show. Okay, as much as I enjoy talking about the good stuff, I enjoy even more criticizing things. So on to the negatives. The first one is not so serious, but I thought it's worth mentioning. The two earbuds discharge batteries at a different rate, so it's really hard to keep track on battery life when one is reading a few percent higher or lower than the other. So I'm not sure why this does this, but they're not the only earbuds that do this. I thought Bluetooth 5 would have equalized and solved that problem, but apparently this problem exists. So something you should be aware of. So the next problem is slightly more serious. When I have my Echo Buds playing some music and I want to rapidly increase the volume, so I cycle it up pretty quick, at say the 1/3 level of volume or 2/3 level of volumes, there's a sudden jump in amplitude. It suddenly gets really loud and then it gets soft again. And I'm not sure why that happens. And it doesn't happen for everybody. Maybe it's the unit that you get, or maybe we have more sensitive hearing. But it's been months now, and I know it can be fixed with firmware updates, and it's been months now, and it has not been solved, so it's still an issue for me then. If you remember how the battery slash storage case looked like, and if you don't, just go back in the video that way, and you can see how smooth it is. It's made of cheap plastic, sure, but it slips in your pocket well, it slips in your purse really well. But I have a new test to test with these cases now, is how bulgy is it in your pants segment. And I'm going to test it, slip it in my pocket, and you can see whether it's, I rock the, am I excited to see you kind of look, or does it look like I'm just having a wallet thing in my pants? So let's take a look. So after watching that, depending on your point of view, that's either a fail or a pass, and it's a no-go for me. The last beef I have with this device is the gesture control. I'm not sure what Amazon's reasoning for to set it up that way, but there's no single tap on this thing. There's no single tap to activate anything. While it is super customizable through the app, you can't do single tap nothing. You only have double tap and long tap to hold. And yes, you have Alexa always listening, so you can use her hot word and call her, but there's no single tap to change volume or anything like that. If you can live with that, that's fine. After a while, I kind of got used to the no single tap part, but it really does limit the customization possibilities that's available or should be available. It is really another thing that's fixable by firmware. Amazon has not listened to its customers because people have been asking about it. And for that fact, I do not like that part. I have a few things in the neutral side because I'm not sure where they should belong, and I'll just let you decide. The first one is pass-through mode. And this is, people say it's digitized sounds piped into your earpiece, and I'm fine with that technology, but on the practical point of view, I'm not sure in what scenarios we'll use it that often. Because when someone is talking to you, or if you're wearing your earpiece, you're listening to music, and someone approaches you, your boss or something, it's just a matter of taking it off and say what. That's more convenient than trying to find a button to press it and activate it. I think that's not practical yet. I think it works fine if you're driving and wearing one earpiece and you can hear all the sounds around you better. So maybe in that scenario, but otherwise I don't see the point of it. The next one is having Alexa on all the time on your Echo Buds. Some people may not like that invasion of privacy where Amazon's always listening. But you can always turn off the mic, or you can turn off Alexa on, activation on at any time, and use Siri or Google. But just thought I'll mention that. I'm neutral on it. Maybe you're not. The last one is latency, and this has to do with when you're watching videos with on your phone or whatever device, and the lag between the video and the sound, if that exists or not. With Bluetooth 5.0, which this Echo Buds have, is for the most part not an issue. But I've run into some devices that have a certain amount of lag and they disappear, and sometimes they come back. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but for the most part the experience have been positive. So I'm putting it in neutral territory because while it exists, it really doesn't bother me most of the time because it doesn't, if that makes any sense. Well, there you have it, guys. That was my review of the Amazon Echo Buds, and I wholeheartedly recommend them. For $130, you can't get a better value of earbuds that has almost everything that you need that you find in a higher end model like the Sonys and the AirPods. Really, these are awesome for $130, and I got them for $90. But even at $130, you have active noise reduction, you have Bose quality sound, you have good battery life, you have water resistance. In exchange, in fair trade, I believe, for lower quality build materials and fiddly controls. Some compromises for a lot of features, and I appreciate that for the price. And it shows people how it should be done in year 2020 to be competitive. So listen up, all competitors, do it like they do. Anyways, I recommend this one, and yeah, let's move on. Guys, if you enjoy this channel and would like to see more videos like this, there are a couple ways that you can help. First, you can go to my Patreon page, and the other is to click the subscribe button and the bell notification down below. Yes, mash that button and kill it. That will help you get you more videos like this. And remember to thumbs up if you like this video to show your support. And thumbs down. Thumbs down if you're Batman watching this. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Batman. It's safe to assume that some of the bats, or one of your bats, at least in your bat cave, flew in from Wuhan, China, and probably has the coronavirus. We all know that the coronavirus came from a bat. So it's safe to assume that one of your bats might have a coronavirus. So what are you going to do, Bruce Wayne? be responsible. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. You've been awesome. I hope you have a great weekend. Remember to do something nice for somebody. The world needs more love, and it starts with you. Thank you for being awesome, and God bless, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.